Greetings on this great spring-like day we're having today with sunshine. Today we continue our study in Romans, and this will be the last study in Romans taken from chapter 15. We have gone through the entire book this quarter, and we will continue our study next week in the book of Proverbs. In writing this letter to the church at Rome, Paul wanted to stress the importance of the church reaching out to others. The last study in Romans will leave us hanging on all that Paul wanted to do in reaching out from Rome to Spain and Western Europe with the gospel message. Chapter 15 is a wrap-up of his letter to the church. Paul really says here, "Now that you have read this letter, I will tell you why I wrote it." Paul had never visited the church at Rome, but he was confident in their strength in the Lord to accomplish the task that God had called them to do. Romans 15:14, Paul wrote, "My brothers and sisters, I myself am convinced about you that you are full of goodness, filled with all knowledge, and able to instruct one another." A church full of goodness is close to an ideal church. Christ came into this world to do good things for sinful man. If Christ did good, then he has called us to do even better. John 14:12, Jesus said, "He who believes in me, the works that I do will he do also, and greater works than these will he do, because I go to the Father." A church filled with all knowledge is a discipling church. Jesus called us to go and make disciples. Knowledge comes through disciplined learning. A disciple is being disciplined by God to reach out to others in the knowledge of God. Paul says that you are able to instruct one another. That's what we do in church worship and Bible study. We are instructing one another. Full of goodness, filled with all knowledge, able to instruct one another. That's a great church. In his farewell statement, Paul wants the church to know that they could continue an effective service to the Lord until he could come visit with them personally. Paul had traveled in his missionary journeys over the regions of Asia Minor and Eastern Europe. Paul now wanted new places to preach the gospel. Romans 15:20 said, "My aim is to preach the gospel, for Christ has not been named, so I will not build on someone else's foundation." There's nothing like starting a new church. We call it church planting today. As a former church planter, I know what it's like to go to a new place, a new city, start a core group Bible study in a rented space, and then start trying to build a congregation. After this comes securing property and constructing a church building. Well, in today's time, after this comes a coronavirus, and you can't even use the building. But thank God it is being used today. We're going to get back in it before long. Paul assures the church at Rome that they can carry on while he goes out and plants other churches. Paul was about to depart for Jerusalem with an offering for the saints. He was ready to go. He had collected the money from other churches. He wanted to care for the poor in Jerusalem. Romans 15:31, Paul said, "Pray that I may be rescued from the unbelievers in Judea, that my ministry to Jerusalem may be acceptable to the saints." I believe he sensed there would be trouble when he went to Jerusalem. Even though problems and troubles could come to him in Jerusalem, Paul knew it was God's plan for him to provide what help he could for the poor saints there. I will close today's lesson with the words of Paul. "May the God of peace be with all of you." Amen.